the first section is from a chapter called But for the Company of Mirrors, an Infinitum. Have you a person? Have you a self, damn it? I want the truth. Tell me something about me, us, something only we would know. To scoff, to re-raise, to wince, defeat. I have an enormous head, okay? Like, for my body height and shape, I ought to have a smaller head. It's just off-putting, you know? And it's really humiliating. I mean, I would look so much better if, say, my head were about 2.4 inches less in circumference. Then I would look fine. My body would look better because, you know, I'd look more proportional. As it is, it just looks like the smaller body's propping up this great big head. And when you realize your head is bigger than you think, you forget that when you make certain gestures, you've got to compensate for the bigger head. Like, in some situations, the face I'm making isn't the face I feel, or the face I want to be making. The face I should be making with this kind of head. Like, I'll be thinking I'm making this face that's like, I'm thinking about something and trying to tell whether it's funny or not, but it's not really too important, I want you to know that. Only the face I'm actually making, because my head is so big, is something closer to, I just stepped in a puddle on my way to a second round interview, and it's bad enough I'm not even wearing fresh socks, but to have them wet as well, you know? Like I want to apologize to whomever I'm making the face to, right? Like I should say to them, hey, this isn't the face I meant to make. Please, have a pleasant rest of the day. I've become very self-conscious, you know? Like, if I'm trying to pick up a woman at a bar or a bookstore or something, I'll be too overwhelmed by whether or not I'm making an appropriate face. You know, like, am I making a face like I'm a very serious and smart individual with a little bit of mystery to make up for the fact that I'm not better looking? But I also have this very funny side to me, and don't you want to find out? Aren't you curious? But I could really be making a face like Einstein's theory of relativity is all wrong, and no one but me knows it, and where is the nearest restroom so I can pop this cyst on my upper thigh? I mean, how do I account for this? Usually I'll just go up to her after I realize what I've done and apologize profusely, but I don't think she gets me. Most times she just looks disturbed, like I'm not well, mentally, and she doesn't know if she should, like, call security or wait it out. I either get that one or the sympathetic one, like she thinks I'm autistic, which I feel is worse because she'll make more of a pity face. Do you get me? I think you get me. You get me. Yeah, I don't think you get me. So I have this thing. I do. Like a safe word of sorts. Let me back up. Okay, right. So when I was like 16, I got into the local rave scene. Hold your judgments. I'd been taking a lot of eating some acid, which would come on these little blotted pieces of note card paper. Very camouflaged, right? Because if a cop happened to pull us over, he'd find the note cards and just think us studious amongst the pacifiers and glow sticks and neon clothing and science fiction haircuts. Then there was the ketamine and some other kinds of pills that we would just take without any prior research. So one day this guy just up and gave me this pill. Said it was called a peanut. Why? Like what they give the elephants in the circus, man. It's just like taking a trip to the circus, man. Something happened. I don't know. I don't remember what. But I didn't take the pill that night. Just put it in my pocket and forgot about it until I was doing the laundry some weeks later. It was, what was it? A Wednesday, I think? I was bored, so I took it. 2 hours later, I'm lying on the floor in a pool of sweat and vomit. My skin all blotchy and swollen. My parents came home and found me collapsed on the kitchen floor. They took me to the emergency room where the doctor said if I had gotten there just 1/2 hour later, I would have died. So I tell this to girls when we're intimate. I tell them the story and say, now, every time I hear the word peanut, I get cold chills and a small spasm of nausea. I tell them, but this is a good thing. It only lasts about 15 seconds, and then it passes. I tell them, so, if I look like I'm about to come, or you just want me to slow down, just say peanut. It's weird, she admits. But sure enough, she says it, and every time peanut gets said, I stop, shiver, take a couple breaths, and jump back into it fresh as a cucumber. When she sees the effect work, she has a little fun with it, and starts shouting, peanut, 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 until I almost throw up. Then she feels bad and uses it sparingly. Except, and here's the thing, I was never into the rave scene. I never did E or X or whatever it goes by. I never took ketamine, and I've never even heard of a drug called peanut. I know what you're thinking. Oh, so it was just a peanut allergy that you tried to cover up with a story about drug use in order to impress the ladies. And I'd say, yes, that makes sense, doesn't it? That's what you would think, right? Except, I'm not allergic to peanuts. All right, there's